Hey everybody, Jeez, let's try that again. Hey everybody, economic ninja here. Hope you're doing great. Got a big news story for you, and I've been talking about shakeups and how the world is splitting in two, and we are seeing new alliances being made, and we are seeing old alliances being broken all around the world. And this story is yet one more amazing example, especially when these alliances that have been broken for many years, well over a decade, now start coming back together. You have to start seeing the real narrative behind or what the fake narrative, honestly. We've seen Saudi Arabia completely walk away from the U.S. Not only did they walk away from a 50-year agreement, they said, hey, we're signing our allegiance to China, and we just want you to know, even a year later after that was done, they're like, hey, this isn't just a 50-year agreement, it's 50 years and beyond. Like, they're really sticking it to the U.S., right? We've seen OPEC come out and say, hey, pretty much we're declaring war on American energy, and we're going to cause the prices to skyrocket. Why? Because we're going to raise our prices by withdrawing, how much we pump, like lowering the amount of oil that we pump. And it's getting worse and worse. Now, we always know that the governments are all about proxy wars, right? They like to have other people start a war for their benefit. And one of the wars, that we did, and we've seen those. If you haven't seen the footage of, I don't remember which general it was, but it was after 9/11, going, hey, we're going into these 6 countries, right? We're going to go get this one, this one, this one. They got them all, right? And they wanted to install central banks in all these countries. That's the one thing that they have been consistent with, right? They go in, attack a country, and all of a sudden a central bank appears. And it's really sad once you start to realize what's really going on behind the scene. Well, one of the countries that we were wanting to go after was Syria, right? Forever, we wanted to go and attack Syria. We wanted to go get Assad, all this kind of crazy stuff, right? But then it's interesting. The last 2 years, everything just sort of went quiet about Assad. Very interesting, right? We'll check this story out of Zero Hedge. Arab League agrees to reinstate Syria after 12 years. Now, just so you know, between you and me, well, you, me, and the chalkboard, I believe that whole Arab League kicking Syria out was due to a favor for the Western countries. Like, they wanted to go and attack Syria. So what do they do? Politically, they attack them. Economically, they attack them. And one of the ways they attack them is to do things like that. Like, hey, get your partners to kick you out of these special clubs, right? And so 12 years ago, the Arab League had kicked Syria out. It says here, the Middle East political alignment continues its reset away from the U.S. influence at a rapid pace. As on Sunday, Al Jazeera reported a huge development that the foreign ministers from Arab League member states have agreed to accept Syrian membership after a suspension that lasted 12 years. The ministers voted for Syria's return into the fold at the Arab League's headquarters in Cairo on Sunday. The decision was made in advance of the Arab League summit in Saudi Arabia on May 19th and amid flurry of regional normalization of ties with Damascus in recent weeks. Now, it says here that in March, Saudi Arabia and Syria agreed to begin the process of reopening their mutual embassies, which followed on the heels of the China-brokered Saudi-Iranian rapprochement. So you are seeing agreements coming back into existence that haven't been for so many years, right? While the U.S. was trying to break all of them up and separate them and control, right? You're now seeing China brokering all of these things coming together. Very scary. And the reason why is because China is becoming the peacemaker, right? We just recently saw that China has agreed to become a peace broker between Russia and Ukraine. And the more and more countries see them fixing things, right? Economically and politically, there's going to be more and more countries racing to them to join the BRICS. That's how dire this is getting. And that's why it's very serious. You start watching what's going on at home. Because it is not getting any better for the Western civilizations, all right? So your way of life is starting to change. You are going to be affected by this, all right? Long term, down the road, it is going to mean less trade, less jobs, less everything, okay? This is why we cover this kind of news stories. Now, one analyst was quoted in regional media at the time as saying, the prevailing attitude can be defined as, times have changed, the Arab Spring is history, and the region is transitioning towards a new future with new geopolitical characteristics. The official, who himself recently reconciled with Damascus after deflecting to the Syrian opposition in the summer of 2011, added, you're starting to see peace being brokered in the Middle East. This is these are very serious times. The Arab League and many regional countries officially cut ties with Damascus in 2011. As the conflict there erupted, Saudi Arabia and allies like Qatar and the UAE had helped the U.S. spearhead regime change efforts in Damascus. Russia and Iran came to the aid of Syria, however, in a war that took hundreds of thousands of lives and left much of the country in rubble. President Assad survived, and now these same countries are forced to play nice given the centrality of Syria in the regional order. The U.S. and Israel are worried over these developments, to say the least. Now, in closing, it says here, the restoration of ties between Assad and Arab powers has also been hastened due to the tragic earthquake of February 6th that rocked the region. Despite far-reaching U.S. sanctions, remember, that's what we're known for. We're known for sanctioning people and controlling and all that stuff. Countries poured in support in order to aid rescue and relief efforts of the Syrian people. That's how the U.S. is being viewed. You know, hey, countries go through horrible, tragic events like earthquakes, and nope, hey, you're sanctioned. You just get to suffer. We're no longer viewed as the country that goes and helps people, that saves people, that heals nations. We're the country that's known as the ones that destruct. And the scary thing is, right before our eyes, we are witnessing China take on that role, at least on a very superficial level, okay? I'm not saying that China is some savior. I'm telling you that China understands this is the time to jump in. While the big bully is the big bully, now you can go take on the big bully, and then all of a sudden the rest of the countries will fall in line. And right now, that's what China wants. They are building a new world reserve currency. They are wanting to go against Western powers, and they are being seen as some countries' saviors. This is getting serious. It's in the news every day. And the reason why I want to point it out is because it has to play with our civilization, how we're going to live, how we are going to run things. And that is what your lives are going to be changed over the next decade drastically because of what is happening today. So these are the days to prepare for this. That's what's scary, is that people don't think that anything can just change. And they don't always change overnight. The scary thing is it comes in little sections over years, and then it seems like all of a sudden overnight it changes. But it really didn't. Anyway, I hope you guys got something from this. Please put down in your comments below what you think of Saudi Arabia leaving the U.S., joining China, and now all these countries starting to line up in the Middle East. And what is that going to do for our energy? Think about that. We have a government, a president that is hell-bent on not being energy efficient, not energy independent. He wants us to buy from people that literally hate us and want to raise our prices. Put it down in the comments below what you think. With that being said, the Economic Ninja is out.